Alright, welcome back to Crash Bandicoot 4. This is the final Insanely Perfect episode of the playthrough. I get the final 2 levels done, Insanely Perfect, and get the trophy associated with it. I also get the trophy for just getting all clear gems, and you'll see that in a little bit. But anyway, this is the Seeing Double Cortex level. This is a timeline level. This level, I guess this level is harder than Cortex Castle, and probably only because this Cortex part of this level just kind of sucks. And then the final, mass gauntlet that you have to go through with Crash is slightly different. In this level, there's quite a few extra boxes and stuff that you have to get, but aside from that, the mass gauntlet is not that hard. Once you kind of learn it and figure it out, it's actually really easy to do. Like, it seems crazy and it seems like it's impossible, but it's not that hard. Honestly, in my opinion, Toxic Tunnels is probably the hardest level in the whole game to Insanely Perfect. That took me longer than any level, I'm pretty sure. Just because of that jet path, and it's just long, there's a lot of ways to die. I'm pretty sure I mean, it's totally my opinion, you can disagree with me, but I think Toxic Tunnels is the worst level. These aren't great, don't get me wrong, like, these are difficult, but it's not nearly as hard as Toxic Tunnels is. There is 3 boxes in that little hallway there, that's where the hidden gem is. Just make sure you're shooting as you're running through there so you break the 3 boxes. Now this part's a little tricky, it's just about timing. Just pay attention to the platform and dash when it's appropriate. As long as you make it through that first one and just bounce those 2 boxes naturally, and then dodge when you're done, you pretty much won't hit those lasers. I like to get right on the edge there, make Cortex, you know, get the fear of God in him while he's dangling off the edge. And the little robot thing can't get you there, so. And then you're just lined up perfectly, you just dash onto the platform. It's the safest way, in my opinion. But this part I really just hate. It's just a lot of dashing. You can do this part without using that enemy as a platform, but it's just easier. Just turn it into a platform so you can shoot the other one and make it bouncy.
Why can't I be more reasonable like
jump
I
across,
am?
and that's the end of the Cortex part. It's short, but it's difficult.
Masquerade as me,
2
will you?
Cortexes.
Well,
Look at that.
I'm you from the future, you idiot! I'm not an idiot.
I don't know why I let this
You're the
play.
Idiot! Get him!
Okay. So this crash part,
Quit
cheese. I say cheese, but I mean it is cheesy, I guess. It's not really the way you're supposed to do this, but this is the way I did this first part. It is easier. That part's the worst. There's so many more boxes there in this version of the level. And oftentimes you fall through that gap and you can't stop bouncing on those boxes and you get all the saw blades and you die. So. But yeah, this part looks super daunting, but it's really not that bad. Once you learn it and figure it out, it's really easy. Especially this part. Like, you're like, how is this to get that box? And literally, it's really easy. So we get that. I like to jump and get the mask instead of getting it in the air and having it to switch. We're just gonna jump across, slide, double jump, just jump, land on the platform and just duck. So you can get under. We don't even use Econo here, there's no point to. Just pick up the time mask, bounce your way through, flip, time. Take a little breather. Slide through, Kano, Blind Ollie, Ika, bounce in the box, hit the trigger, and there it is. Insanely perfect for seeing double completed. Alright, so we're gonna move on. Now, this next clip is not an Insanely Perfect, but I wanted to get all 6 gems for Cortex Castle without doing Insanely Perfect at the same time, so that I could get 2 separate clips for trophies. Because if I would have just gone for Insanely Perfect, I would have gotten both trophies, and it would have been the same video clip, kind of like how my platinum clips are. And I just don't really want to do it that way, because I say this all the time, but you know, I don't really have consistent viewership. So if you're watching this, I record directly from my PlayStation. I don't use a computer, so I use the video recordings that the PlayStation automatically takes when you get trophies, and I just splice them in, because it doesn't automatically record trophies, which is just dumb, but it's just how it works. So anyway, there it is, King of Bling. That is just for getting all of the regular gems and all of the levels. Now here is the Insanely Perfect run.
You'll never find me, Neo-Cortex. This castle is
This level,
I alone know all of its secrets.
the final part I had no trouble with. It was this this first part of it that I struggled with. There's a lot of longy lolly in this. It's a lot of phasing things in and out. So you don't have to go for that box up there. The nitro trigger will break that fruit crate, but I just like to get it because it's a golden fruit crate. Now I also cheese this here. You can stand on these emitters as long as the lasers aren't on, so I just use them as platforms, and it just kind of makes this part easier. You don't really have to worry about being on the platform. You can just stand on the emitter. This hallway here is probably my least favorite part of the whole level. I really dislike these saw blade things. If you even so much as like breathe on the freaking edge of these saw blades, they kill you. It's so annoying. Don't miss that box right there. It's kind of hidden. There's 2 enemies that come around the corner here. Excuse me. Okay, there's a bonus right up here. It's probably, I don't know. It's a pretty tough bonus level, but it's just really puzzly, I guess you could say. It's not hard. It's just all about using Kapunawala and freezing time and making sure you're not within the blast of the nitro and TNT. It's not too bad. I like to go over top because I just don't like going underneath those things. Go down, break those boxes, then we double jump back up. That's probably the hardest jump in the game, in the level, just because of that nitro crate and the little bouncy boxes. It's pretty easy to get smashed or hit the nitro crate, or get shot by that robot thing. So it's just tough. Just make sure you're using Kapunawala slow time, and you should be okay. Now here you can totally skip the first and third. You just slide double jump to the middle one, and then slide double jump off. Make sure you use your Econo here to spin this knight off, and then do a slide jump Econo to get over that. Another slide jump Econo, knock the knight off, break these boxes, trigger the TNT, another slide jump Econo, another slide jump, and then don't go past that dark block there, and slide jump up here. If you go too far, you'll lose Econo and you won't be able to get back across, so just don't go past that shadowy dark block. Now we have Ika Ika, so we have to flip, break all these. You have to do some quick flip in here to get up. We get a mask, which is nice. This next section is a little bit of a pain in the butt, but it's not too bad. I don't remember if I make it through this part without getting hit or not. I might get hit, but I mean I have a mask, so it's not a big deal. But you gotta jump over these things while dodging. Yeah, I got hit while dodging the saw blades. You can use the saw blades to jump over them. I think that's what you're supposed to do, but it's honestly easier to do slide jumps in my opinion. Just remember, once you slide jump over the lasers, you're gonna have to jump over the saw blade very shortly after. So just keep that in mind. Now, you'll see the differences here. Instead of the lock crates and fireboxes, there's 2 TNT, and then these 4 crates up high. Just blow up the TNT and just slide jump spin them. It's the easiest way. I do this pretty much the same, but there's no box down below, so we don't need to worry about that. There's no box up high, there's only one there, so it's easy. Just do that. There's no box up there. Now this part's very simple. It's all exactly the same, and there's just less things to collect. So just do everything the same way and get to the end without dying. This is the same. The only difference is the hidden gem is up here. So make sure you get that. There's also a box, so you have to put up there. Okay, so this is the final stretch. Usually once I made it here, I was pretty comfortable. I was always very consistent with this part. I never really struggled that much with this part. It's really the first part of this that I always struggled with, like the initial Akano and Kapunawa with the saw blades. That's where I would usually die. But this part was always very easy. Because you can always just rest here. You don't need to rush here. Once you land on that steel block, you don't really have to move right away. But after you get all that, it's simple. You hit the trigger and that's it. It's insanely perfect. And there's Perfectionist, which is all 38 levels, insanely perfect. So I'm very happy that that's over with. All I really have left is time trials, the flashback levels, and I think that's it. I mean, other than the inverted, but that's the next episode. So I'll see you then.